India is a curious land, replete with rare and exquisite pieces of history, scattered on every nook and corner, preserving its valuable heritage, culture and art. In a milestone development for India, Dholavira, one of the most prominent Harappan site, has recently received UNESCO's prestigious World Heritage Site status. In an exclusive interview with Dr. Vasant Shinde, eminent archaeologist and ex-director general of National Maritime Heritage Complex, we try to find out some stirring facts about Harappan civilization and the Dholavira site. The Harappan civilization, one of the oldest and technologically advanced civilizations of the world, was initiated and nurtured by our brilliant forefathers. However, what makes the site so unique and listed under the UNESCO World Heritage Sites? The structures like stadiums, advanced burial sites and one of the earliest water harvesting systems in the form of dams, reservoirs were found at Dholavira. Let us find out from Dr. Vasant Shinde what do these artifacts and structures suggest.
They have also found Middle Town. That is one very important discovery. Plan depends upon what function the site has. Accordingly, they have devised the plan of the settlement. That is one very important thing. Secondly, the excavator also has identified some open ground, and it is believed that this was the stadium, maybe open stadium for undertaking some maybe public functions or festivals. So this is the evidence of its kind, the first evidence of its kind anywhere in the world. So maybe the concept of maybe this maybe stadium has evolved from these ideas. So this is very important. Thirdly, the water harvesting and water management evidence that we have at the site, it is so unique and unparalleled in the contemporary world. And this particular evidence is so relevant even today. We can put to use this particular system at many places in the desert part, and the desert can be converted into Greenland. And before the excavations at Dholavira, we were wondering from where this particular ideas come. We thought that maybe it has come from outside, maybe Central Asia, etc. But now we know that this was practiced by the Harappans long back, and this tradition has continued till early Iron Age, and to some extent till modern times. In Northeast India, there are a lot of communities who are following this particular custom. So some traditions which are developed, they have continued through the ages till today, and some technologies that were developed by the Harappans, they are also being used by a number of communities in India and maybe South Asia.
It's evident from these structures that Harappans were far-sighted and sharp-witted enough to develop such advanced structures to combat water scarcity. Let us know in detail, how did these water conservation systems work?
They had to develop that, and they were aware that right from the beginning there is a water scarcity. So what they did, they did a proper survey of the region. They studied the geography and geology of the region, and they chose this particular spot, which is between two rivers. One is Manhar and the other one is Mansar. These are the two rivers, by the side of the city, Dholavira city. And what they did, they put series of check dams on both the rivers. This is really very important to learn from the Harappans. And then, of course, they diverted whenever there is a rainfall in the desert part. There is a flash flood coming to these rivers, sudden floods. So this flash flood water was arrested and diverted into the settlements. And then inside the settlement, in all the different parts, they have dug underground water reservoirs so that they can store this water there. And these reservoirs are connected to each other by underground water channel system, so that the tanks are filled in one after the other, and they make sure that there is always running water available in the settlement, in spite of the fact that this is a desert part. But because of the new technology innovation, the Harappans could overcome this difficulty.
Apart from this, the inhabitants of Dholavira were pioneers not only in the field of architecture but also in rich cuisine. Be it the lip-smacking Indian curry or the delectable flavor of tandoor, we owe a lot to Harappans.
They are so relevant. Some of the technology that they developed, some of the food habits, like the Indian curry was introduced by the Harappans, chicken tandoor was introduced by the Harappans. So there is so much continuity in that also. So we connect ourselves to the past immediately.
You must have certainly heard about the ancient port city of Lothal, famous for the world's first dockyard used for the purpose of trade. However, Professor Shinde tells us how trade was conducted in the Harappan city of Dholavira.
The uniqueness of the site, the Harappans had to develop this particular city here because there is a very important trade route between Saurashtra and Sindh. Sindh has some of the important, sites, where they have the manufacturing facilities. Whereas Saurashtra has access to number of raw materials. So they had to develop this particular trade, and this trade route was very important. And they had to establish some fortified settlements on the trade route for giving protection to the traders and also to the goods.
The Harappan civilization was one of its kind because of the unique and dynamic thought process and livelihood of its inhabitants. Let us know how their inventions have been the guiding light for generations beyond set borders.
The people know little bit about Harappan history, okay, but they do not know that how much Harappans have contributed to the history of South Asia and to the history of the world. See, Harappans have taught the world how to build modern cities, very clean, well built and hygienic cities. So they have taught to the world. Harappans were the first or pioneer in developing what is known as the scientific construction method, which is being followed today all over the world. Now this is called English bond method. When a brick wall is constructed, one line of the brick is placed horizontal, next line or vertical. So this method was introduced by the Harappans. Still, it is called English bond because English people were not really aware about this till 1400 CE. But this was there. This method was introduced by the Harappans almost 5,000 years ago. So this was a very important contribution. They have taught us the importance of trade. Why today most of the countries are trying to promote their trade with different countries because they know the importance of trade, and the Harappans have maybe taught us that. Harappans were responsible for developing some of the basic technologies which are so relevant even today in major part of South Asia. And it is found to be relevant and we can put to use. So these are the things people are not really aware. The contribution of the Harappans, the technology that the Harappans developed, and the relevance of that.
Professor Shinde shares how a lot can be learnt even today from the life, experiences and advanced inventions of the Harappans.
From the remains that we have at the site of Dholavira, we can learn so much from the Harappans. And that can be put to use. The knowledge that we'll get from the Harappan, maybe, these remains, that knowledge can be used for maybe upgrading the maybe life of some of the people who are dependent on the old technologies.
That's all for today. For more such interesting updates, stay tuned.